Gang. It's Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Probably not going to lift any weights. I'm going to be lame. It's evening gratitude. I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for peace. I'm grateful for prayer. I'm grateful for water. I'm grateful for my voice. I'm grateful for my brain. I'm grateful for doing the best I can in all the situations that I deal with. Sometimes those situations are hard. Sometimes those situations are people where you tell them that there's a problem and they tell you there's not a problem and they tell you there's not a problem and they tell you there's not a problem and you go, dude, there's a problem. And then you tell them, dude, there's a problem, and they go, oh, well, you're just sensitive. Or they fall for the DARVO, the deny, attack, reverse victim offender. Don't like that. It's not fun. It's not something that's good. It's not how we should be treating each other. When we think about our lives, we want to do the best we can. On a consistent basis, we want to be able to go and communicate directly what it is that we're doing, what we're looking to accomplish, and to be able to seek agreement where possible and where appropriate. Sometimes there's people where there's not agreement, sometimes it's areas where it's not appropriate, and sometimes we have to choose a path that's different. It's not always easy, but it's one that we have to be able to be on. In my life, I am so grateful for taking that path that's a little bit more difficult. Not accepting misbehavior, not accepting mistreatment, not accepting disrespect or misjudgment or any of that ugliness. It's a fascinating thing when we deal with that because there's this path that we're on where we can go and we can do our best, we can grow, we can be able to develop, or we can sit there and we can be able to be stifled. I'm telling you, I have so many friends of mine that are good friends who I like and respect where they stifle their voice. They stifle their voice because people abuse them, they get sexual harassment, they get sexual treatment. It's not appropriate. We want to think about how we can create the best life for each and every one of us. That means speaking the truth. That means speaking the truth from our perspective, doing the best we can, and watching and listening for how people respond to it. It's not always easy, folks. It's not always something where you know exactly how it's going to work out. You know that you can do your best. By doing your best, you can be able to create the reality in our world of what can be able to happen. It's a fascinating thing, and it is really interesting when we have these sorts of interactions where there's some sort of critical negative experience and trying to figure out that path through it. In my life, there have been so many times where people have either taken advantage or where there have been these challenges, where there's been this disrespect, and you sit there and you're like trying to figure out, hey, is what I heard right? Is that appropriate? Is it not appropriate? And then you hear people try to explain away what they did and say, oh, well, no, I meant this. Oh, you're sensitive. Oh, you should have done it this way. It's never once acknowledging what they did. And they say never. Never is the biggest. When you hear somebody say they never do something, it's a difficult thing because I'm going to tell you I make mistakes all the time. I don't always get it right. I do always do my best. But the thing is that an apology oftentimes just dissolves and fixes a lot of these challenges. I'm grateful for it though. I'm grateful for the example that I can be able to set. I'm grateful for the path that I'm on and the work that I do to be able to move forward and to be able to grow this world in our organizations. It's very fun. I'm grateful for the young people that I associate with who are able to help us to be able to build this world going forward. When I think about our youth, I feel such hope. When I think about our elders, I feel great hope. I feel great peace and desire to see them be successful. So it's a wonderful day. I lifted some weights a good bit today. I actually went to the eye doctor, and it was fun because they said, for the most part, I'm healthy. There's a couple of things we're going to check up on, but my eyes work, and they're not really scratched up, and they're in good condition, and that feels really good. It's a really nice feeling, because I think it's got to be 10 years since I went to the eye doctor. So that was successful, and that was satisfying. I'm grateful for my house. It just tickles me having a house. And it seems like such a simple, small thing. But I have a house, and it makes me happy to have a house to be able to come home to be able to develop and build things with. And that's an important part of it. In my life, having an existence is a blessing. Having peace, having serenity, having goals, having gratitude, these things all make a difference. I challenge you in your life this week as you go through it. Are there times where you feel friction? Are there times where you feel challenged? Are there times where people are disrespectful to you and then they deny that they were actually disrespectful to you? That's a challenging thing. That's a disrespectful thing. That's a deeply frustrating thing when we deal with that. And it's interesting. I do recommend finding groups of people. If you have somebody that you work with a couple times, it's biblical. You work with them a couple times and either they address it or they don't address it. And then you get a group together and you address it as a group. And that's really where I found the greatest strength in my life is being able to do that and to be able to think about that example you get from others. Several months ago, I was at a leadership conference, and we had a lady come and talk about some experiences she had that were very brave and very difficult. And she gave us a blue marble to be able to remember her message, because there's blue marbles in the state legislature in South Dakota in the floor. She was talking about when she was going to testify on the bills that she was in support of that actually didn't pass initially. That she sat there and she just focused on those blue marbles. And so when she speaks, she gives out blue marbles. It's such a fascinating and really brave story. And today I was confronting a couple of things that were really difficult. And when you confront things that are difficult, there's this moment where it just feels overwhelming, and you don't, you want to be professional, but it's like the wave crashing, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, I know how to surf, I'm good at surfing, but that wave's coming fast. I'm glad I spoke up. I challenge you to speak up this week. Find ways that you can be able to speak up, that you can be able to use your voice to be able to create the best world possible. When we don't tolerate disrespect, when we don't tolerate the insanity that's going on in the world, when we work to be able to create better visions and better outcomes, that's where we can really be able to create good things. This path of working to be able to create good things, it's not always easy, and it's not always a smooth path. Sometimes there's leadership challenges that we get into that require a lot of work. Sometimes there's leadership challenges that take quite a bit of effort and time and energy. Those leadership challenges that we get into allow us to be able to go and to be able to grow through that path and through that process. And that's really where I am grateful for, because being able to grow and through that path and that process is really powerful. Because instead of accepting abuse or disrespect, we go and say, hey, you know what? It's not for me. We need to have a conversation. And then from the conversation, you learn what the other person really believes or doesn't believe. And it is something to really pay attention to, is how you're interacting, what you're doing, and how you're able to build from that, how you're able to grow. I'm grateful for salvation from Jesus Christ, and I'm grateful for the bravery that I get from following Jesus Christ. There's a freedom that comes from knowing where you stand in the world. And that freedom allows me to be able to speak with truth, with strength, with integrity. That integrity that we speak with makes a big difference. And that integrity that we speak with gives us the capacity to be able to face anything. There's nothing we can't face with Jesus Christ. And so with that, today's going to be a short one. God bless you. Live with legendary excellence. I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate you hitting like. I appreciate you putting down what you're grateful for. Keep living with legendary excellence. And God bless you.